Hello guys, and welcome to my channel for some TEW 2020. I totally forgot that the public beta came out yesterday, so since I've been playing TEW 2016 a lot, I figured I might as well check out TEW 2020. Eventually I'm gonna wanna purchase this game, so this seems like the perfect opportunity. So today I ended up installing a 2008 real world mod, and it is a 2016 mod, but there's an easy way you can convert the 2016 mods into the 2020. So without further ado, let's just load that right up, and I guess I will show you guys how everything looks. And yes, I know I am playing the trial version. And actually too, if you use this particular mod, which I'll try to remember to link it in the description. If I forget, just leave a comment to remind me. But there's some errors with this mod that you have to go in and edit before you use it. There was a couple minor ones that I didn't have to, but a lot of them have to do with contracts. So I'm gonna go ahead, I don't even care what this game is named, and we're gonna leave all the countries turned on. I remember the first time I played TEW 2016, I kept unchecking the American one, thinking that I was selecting it, and then I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find WWE or TNA or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead, do a one-player game. I think, yeah, similar to 2016, you can have up to 8 people, which is pretty awesome. And then we're gonna go ahead, and it looks like we have some pro skaters here as the default avatars. Typically I would choose Vince, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and do Bam Margera. And obviously we want to do the greatest reputation. And then user talents as well, because I used to forget to set those, and it looks like we actually have some defaults, so that's pretty awesome, because sometimes it's a pain in the ass to just click these to increase the points. So I'm just gonna do jack of all trades, and then we're gonna go ahead and play as Bam Margera. And then it looks like we have pretty much all the companies that were around in 2008. I think I'm just gonna go with WWE because that's typically who I play as. And then I also typically play as owner, but I think for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna click play as Booker. And here is the main page. It looks pretty similar to 2016, but it definitely has a refresh. It looks like a lot of the menus and different options too are kind of on the sides and the bottom rather than the top, so that I guess gives it a new feeling. And then of course we have our typical news. The universe is confused why they made Bam Margera suddenly the Booker of WWE. And then I don't really see anything else interesting, so let's go ahead. I guess we might as well start by checking out the roster page. It looks like we have a pretty stacked roster. I'm wondering, because I see some yellow names and some red ones, so I don't know if that means Candace is a Raw champion, for example. Although it looks like, because I'm looking down here at the bottom notes, so the gold names mean that these people are currently a title holder, and then red must be she's out injured. So that's good that they do that, so it's a little easier to keep track of who's injured, who our title holders are, and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead we'll click on Jeff Hardy, for example. So he's currently the WWE Intercontinental Champion. And then what's nice too is it looks like we have everything kind of on one screen rather than two, because sometimes it would get annoying to try to look at the skills and the popularity because they were in separate tabs. But then kind of too, what's also nice to note is that it looks like rather than skills being a single number or just there was a couple different name options that would say good, great. It looks like they're a number average, which kind of makes sense because a lot of times they never get the same overall when you have them in matches, so that's a nice realistic touch there. And then of course the popularity still looks similar, but I like this popularity system, so I am okay with that. And now I also forgot to note too that when you first go into the game, there's a tab that shows all the new features, and there's plenty of them, so I doubt we're gonna get to all of them today. But one of them in particular that was pretty interesting is you can actually talk to the worker, and it looks like we have a bunch of options here. The only thing that's kind of annoying right now is it's probably just because this is a beta, but I have to click the arrows rather than being able to scroll up and down. So let's go ahead. It looks like we have some options, like we can have him relocate, we can change up his gimmick. We can talk to him about being a heel, for example, having him shave his head on a TV show. And then, yeah, just a bunch of random and interesting things. And then I guess changing his style as well. And then we can have him increase and decrease his size. And then I guess you can even ask him to like stop drinking and doing drugs. So that's pretty interesting. So I guess let's do one, I don't know. We'll ask him, how do you feel about doing a death match? Because that is totally an appropriate question. So like, okay, so you just double click it and he has no interest in doing a death match. How do you feel about having your head shaved on an event? I would be willing to shave my head at any event as long as it's not a lesser tour or throwaway show. I would expect a bonus to do so, of course. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You can just have like random ass gimmicks, but you can actually ask them to how they feel about it rather than just setting it up and hoping that it works. So yeah, that was the talk to worker screen. It looks like obviously, oh, well, to do the negotiations, I'll have to try it with a different person. But pretty much everything else looks pretty similar, so I'm gonna go ahead now, and I didn't really look at the full roster, but it looks like we're pretty stacked at the moment. So let's go ahead and do the product. I'm pretty sure is just, yeah, setting up how the show plays out, which we are in the PG era, I believe, at this point, so that's probably how this is set up at the moment. Then we have our storylines, which all of these look about right for the beginning of 2008, which I forgot to mention we're in the first week of February. And then I forgot, too, that this is also when we had ECW as a brand, so that's pretty cool. I may actually do this mod in TEW 2016, but I'm not sure yet. If you guys want me to start this, let me know in the comments. But then I guess pretty much a lot of these look like they're gonna be similar, which, I mean, how much can you really change up with things like that? So let's go ahead, and the creative meeting looks pretty much to be the same too, because we have like our next big things. Kind of interesting to see, like, at least in this particular mod, it's like a lot of unexpected people that they have as the next biggest thing. It would be pretty cool to push somebody like Brian Kendrick, for example, and then definitely Cody Rhodes, and maybe we could not screw him like WWE did in real life. But then, yeah, I don't really see any new tabs, but at least we still have this feature, so that is always helpful. I wonder who the hidden gems are. I don't even know who most of these people are, minus D'Lo Brown. But then I'm also going to... It looks like the bottom, pretty much there's nothing else noteworthy that at least I know of, because I'm pretty much looking at this for the first time, so there might be new hidden things that I just haven't discovered yet. So I'm gonna go ahead, let's see how hiring a worker is in this mod. So I'm trying to think of somebody. I'm just gonna scroll down to find a random person. So let's go ahead. Let's hire Jay Lethal as an example. I'm pretty sure he was thriving at this time, so he would probably be a good person to actually sign on the WWE if we were actually playing this mod. So I'm gonna go ahead and negotiate. So now it looks like the contracts are pretty much the same, although it's interesting too to see, like, rather than, I think it was like pay per appearance that they used to call it, but now it's just a handshake deal. So we're gonna do our typical where we do a written contract and then an ironclad clause or a no ironclad clause. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm assuming probably like it means he has to stay in the WWE rather than signing with other people. And then let's go ahead. I think we can just go ahead and make an offer here. You're being far too generous with the amount of merchandise revenue you're offering. 10% is the highest I will allow here. So kind of interesting too, because like typically I do play as the owner, so I don't know if Vince would typically pop in like that, for example. So let's just go ahead and change that, and we will make the offer to Jay Lethal. So pretty much for the most part it's still, yeah, the similar screen, but with a lot of changes, like small little details, which are pretty nice. So now, is the office the same? It's a little different, mainly layout wise. I guess right now it looks like we just have a lot of people that are apparently managers without clients, which that's probably just a mod thing. And then there are also like a lot of different tabs over here. I'm assuming like most of them are the same, but then of course there's some different ones, which I would love to check like every little detail, but that would make this video probably like an hour or two long. Which, if you guys want this game, by the way, the free trial is like open to everybody, so you can go on the website and download it and play it yourself. If your computer's like mine, the security pops up because it's not really like a known file yet, so it was trying to not let me download it, but I haven't had any issues at the current moment. I also forgot too, let's go ahead check our developmental, which we actually have a pretty decent amount of people in developmental in this mod, because in the one that I am currently playing in TEW 2016, there's not really a lot of people. So if I do play this mod, we definitely have a lot of people we can eventually sign up. It's kind of weird to see Jack Swagger with like no popularity, but I guess this is right before he debuted on WWE. So now I guess what I am going to do next is I might as well go ahead and I think if I click advanced one day, it should be like 2016 and then just bring me to the show. Alright, and yeah, that's exactly what it did. So it looks like it already booked us somewhere. And then I guess this must be like the card already. It looks like we might have some backstage incidents too, so let's see what that's about. So we have an incident involving Jeff Hardy and then one involving Super Crazy and Vince McMahon. So Jeff Hardy turned up so drunk that he had to be sent home and is in no condition to work. It seems like every time I do a mod, we start off with Jeff Hardy being drunk or on drugs or something like that. So I guess we'll just find him, and he's not happy about it, and neither is Matt or Gregory Helms or Shannon Moore, or oh, Pat Patterson is happy about it. And then we have an incident involving Super Crazy and Vince McMahon. Super Crazy was brought before the wrestlers' court accused of being absorbed by his phone when he should have been paying attention to a locker room meeting. The judge, Vince McMahon, found him guilty and sentenced him to buy a crate of beer for the locker room. It's pretty interesting, because I've seen similar things like that too, but it's like you definitely don't want Vince McMahon, of all people, to notice that you're not paying attention at the meeting. So now, how do I... This must just be the locker room, so let's see. Select venue. Okay, book show right there. So I guess we'll go ahead, we'll start off just by adding a random match. I'm probably not gonna book like an actual show, I just gonna wanna do an example. Especially because for me, I usually take a long time to book the show, so trying to book a show on the spot here isn't really gonna work out for me. But it looks like too, rather than having multiple screens, you kind of just start, you can choose the match you want, and then it's already right here, so that makes it a little more convenient. So now I'm gonna go ahead, typically I choose the people first before I actually start the show, which this roster feels so tiny, but I think it's just because there's 3 different brands. But then the nice thing with a show this size too is you can actually have everybody on the card. So can I still... It looks like at the moment, unless I can double click it, I'm assuming once they release the full version, these are features that they will probably bring in, but at the moment, you can't just like drag it over like you used to be able to. So I'm gonna do, I don't know, Paul London and Charlie Haas. So let's go ahead. That seems like a typical first show match. And then we can auto name it, and then the road agent notes is where you can set up like who you want to be the winner. So let's do Paul London for example, even though it still made Charlie Haas for some reason. I know I did. So maybe that's just something that's like broken at the moment. So they will probably fix it by the time that this is actually released. And then of course we can do like storytelling, for example, which I tend to forget to do a lot, even though I keep saying that, but I've been getting pretty better at it. We can make it like a tainted win, pretty much all the same options. But then stuff like this, I think also depends on the mod you're using, because I've used a couple different mods that'll have different options. So I guess we'll just leave it like that for now, and then I'm gonna assume probably book segment. Yeah, and then there we go. We have our first match, so we cannot start the show, I'm assuming, because we only have one match on the card, so we need to fill it up like we always do. So I'm gonna go ahead now. Let's check out the angle, or apparently the game will crash. I don't know if that has something to do with the mod or the game itself. Alright, so I think the issue was with the mod itself rather than the game, because I ended up just loading the default roster and I have the angles right here, which it might have been a conversion issue too, because it was a 2006 mod rather than a 2020 mod, which there's not really any out since this only just came out yesterday. So pretty much it looks like we have like our similar mod angles here like we would in 2016. So I'm gonna go ahead. I don't really know anything about the default universe, so we'll just make this between these two people. So let's go ahead, book the segment, and I don't know, probably because I put like a guy and a lady. Let's try these two, book it. Alright, yeah, I don't really know, but pretty much it's the same deal with the storylines. So I'm actually just gonna go ahead and click the auto booker because I don't really know this roster at all, so it makes more sense to just let it book itself. And then I want to book the whole show, and I think I made it so that none of the roster was selected rather than all of it. So let's try that again. So book the whole show. And alright, cool. We were able to set up a whole show, so let's go ahead and just run it now. We'll see if there's any differences. There is a lot of pre-show, so that's pretty interesting to note. So it looks like pretty much we had a freestyle angle with this lady. Apparently it went too long for the audience, but it got a 66, which luckily too, it looks like the numbers are defaulted on this game, because I know in 2016 I had to actually set that, which I know some people like the letter ratings, but at least me personally, I'd rather the number ratings. Then we have, it looks like a pre-show match that didn't have some heat and it was embarrassing, but Andre Jones defeated Zeus. And then I'm assuming these are probably similar. It tells us like our booking details, the dirt sheet, and all of that nice stuff. Then we had another angle which was too long, and then we had another angle which was also too long, and then they had a match against each other. So it looks like the pre-show booker does angles and matches in the pre-show, which is pretty interesting, because I mean maybe they do that in WWE as well, but I don't really know. Then I think this might be another, it might be on the main show now, but basically, it looks like the pre-show booker makes the angles too long, but I'm assuming at this point we're definitely on the main show. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip everything else at this point because all of this stuff looks the same. And it looks like there was our main event, so let's go ahead. We'll see how this show did. It got a 60. It lost popularity in 30 regions, but it increased in 22 regions, so that's pretty cool that you can like gain and lose popularity, which maybe you were able to before, but it never actually noted it. So let's go ahead, finish our show. I like too that this screen, it shows like their bio and all of their skills and abilities and that kind of stuff. So now it looks like we have some emails, which that's what this yellow icon must be. So pretty much it got a lot of views by the looks of it. And then we have some new goals, which I've never done Booker before, so I've never actually looked at the goal screen before. So now, really quickly before I end the video, I'm actually going to click on the What's New in TEW 2020 tab, and it looks like pretty much we have like a new interface, obviously, company scheduling, some contract updates. If you guys want to like read the whole list, you can, but I'm just gonna kind of go through, see if anything pops out to me. We did show off the talk to worker feature, which is pretty nice. And then it looks like they added India to the game as a region, so that's pretty cool. We had some email updates, and then I've never done the house shows before, but it looks like now we can have a little more control over them before we had previous. But yeah, there's just like a whole list of stuff here. It's a lot to go through, but if you download the mod yourself, you can actually click on each one of these and it will tell you what's new about them. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna be it for this video. I might do another one to go into details with certain things if you guys want me to, but at the moment, I'm probably not really gonna play this game. And then when the full version comes out, I do want to buy it eventually because it definitely looks like a good improved version of the game, but I might wait. I'm kind of broke at the moment anyway, but hopefully they'll have some more updates out so that this way it's a little easier. But then I also watch some other TEW players, so I'll probably keep up on stuff like that too. But overall, not a bad game. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where this game goes. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a thumbs up. It helps out the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed to me, drop me a sub. I'm so close to 400, and that'll be an awesome goal for me to meet. And I hope you guys just have a very wonderful day. Bye.